The lunch containers felt heavy in my hands as I pushed open the front door of our home. I was smiling, actually smiling, thinking about how sweet it was that Deli had offered to stay home with little Stacy. My husband, the devoted uncle, caring for his niece, while her mother dealt with medical complications. The house was quiet. Too quiet. I set the food down on the kitchen counter, listening. Then I heard it, Tara's laugh. That familiar, musical sound that had been the soundtrack to our friendship for 12 years. My best friend was here. I walked toward the living room, my footsteps soft on the hardwood floor. Through the doorway I could see them. Deli sitting on the couch, Tara beside him, closer than friends should sit. And between them, in a small pink dress, was Stacy, stirring from her nap. The toddler's eyes opened. Those big brown eyes that everyone said were so expressive. She looked up at Deli, her tiny face breaking into a sleepy smile. And then she said it. One word. Just one single word that would detonate my entire life like a bomb going off in my chest. Daddy. Time stopped. My heart stopped. Everything stopped. Deli's face went white. Tara's mouth opened in horror. And I stood there, frozen in the doorway, watching my entire world collapse into ashes around me. Because in that moment I understood. The child wasn't his niece. The medical complications were a lie. My mother-in-law hadn't been helping family, she'd been hiding her son's bastard child. And my best friend? The woman I'd trusted with every secret, every fear, every dream? She was the mother. Before we continue, please write in the comment which country you are watching this video. We love knowing where our global family is tuning in from. And if this is your first time on this channel, please subscribe. Your support helps us bring even more epic revenge tales of life. Enjoy listening. I used to think I had it all figured out. Sitting in my office at the financial consulting firm where I'd worked my way up to senior analyst, I would sometimes pause and let myself feel grateful. Grateful for Deli, my husband of 4 years, who still kissed me goodbye every morning. Grateful for our beautiful home in the suburbs, with its white picket fence and garden I'd planted myself. Grateful for Tara, my ride-or-die best friend since college, who knew me better than I knew myself. Life was good. No, life was perfect. Earth to Aisha. My coworker Janet waved her hand in front of my face, laughing. You're doing that thing again where you space out with that dopey smile. I laughed, shaking my head. Sorry. Just thinking about dinner tonight. Deli's attempting to make his mother's jollof rice. God help you both, Janet teased. Remember to have the fire extinguisher ready. I gathered my things, eager to get home. It was Friday, and Fridays meant date night, a tradition Deli and I had maintained religiously since our wedding. No matter how busy we got, Friday nights were sacred. My phone buzzed as I walked to my car. A text from Tara. Can I come over tomorrow? Need to talk. Important. I frowned slightly. Tara's messages were usually full of emojis and exclamation points. This felt different. Heavier. Of course I typed back. Everything okay? 3 dots appeared, then disappeared. Then appeared again. Yeah. Just need my best girl. Something twisted in my stomach. A feeling I couldn't quite name. But I pushed it away. Tara and I told each other everything. If something was wrong, she'd tell me tomorrow. When I got home, I found Deli in the kitchen, surrounded by ingredients, looking adorably overwhelmed. His tall frame was hunched over a pot, his dark skin glistening with sweat from standing over the stove. He'd rolled up the sleeves of his white shirt, and his wedding ring caught the light as he stirred. How's it going, chef? I asked, wrapping my arms around him from behind. He turned, kissing my forehead. I'm starting to understand why my mother never gave me the actual recipe. This is harder than it looks. It smells good though. It smells like desperation and hope, he corrected, making me laugh. This was us. This easy banter, this comfortable love. We'd met at a friend's wedding, cliché I know, where he'd asked me to dance and then proceeded to step on my feet 3 times. He'd been so apologetic, so genuine in his embarrassment, that I'd found it endearing. By the end of the night I'd given him my number. 6 months later he proposed on the same dance floor where we'd met. Oh, before I forget, Deli said, turning down the heat on the stove. My mother called. She wants to come visit next week. I tried to keep my smile in place. Charlene, my mother-in-law, was complicated. She wasn't cruel exactly, but she'd made it clear from day one that she'd had someone else in mind for her precious son. Someone from a better family, with stronger connections. The fact that I'd worked my way through college on scholarships and came from a single-parent household seemed to diminish me in her eyes. "That's fine," I said, my voice carefully neutral. "We'll make sure the guest room is ready." Deli caught my tone. He always did. "Aisha, I know she can be difficult. She's your mother. Of course she can visit." He pulled me close, his cologne, the one I'd bought him for our anniversary, surrounding me. "I love you. You know that, right? Nothing and no one is more important to me than you." I looked up at him, at those brown eyes that had always made me feel safe. "I know. I love you too." If only I'd known that in less than 3 months, those same eyes would be full of lies. Tara came over Saturday morning and I knew immediately something was seriously wrong. Her usual sparkle was dimmed. She wore no makeup, her curly hair was pulled into a messy bun and her eyes were red-rimmed. "Oh honey," I said, pulling her into a hug the moment she stepped through the door. "What happened?" She clung to me and I felt her body shake with a suppressed sob. Can we just sit? I need coffee and I need you." I made us both strong coffee and we settled on the couch. The same couch where, months later, I would see her sitting too close to my husband. But that morning all I saw was my hurting friend. "I did something stupid," she finally said, her voice barely above a whisper. "Something really, really stupid. Tara, you can tell me anything. You know that." She looked at me then and something flickered across her face. Guilt? Fear? I couldn't quite read it. There was this guy. We had a thing. It was brief, intense, and so wrong. He was involved with someone else. My heart sank. "Oh, Tara. I know. I'm a terrible person. But Aisha, I swear I didn't know at first. By the time I found out, I was already..." She trailed off, her hands twisting in her lap. "Already what?" "In too deep," she finished quietly. "I loved him. God help me, I loved him so much it hurt. And then it ended. Badly. And now I'm trying to move on, but I can't stop thinking about him." I reached for her hand. "You're not a terrible person. You made a mistake. We all make mistakes. The important thing is that it's over now, right?" She nodded, but she wouldn't meet my eyes. "It's over. I need time to heal. And I need you to not hate me." "I could never hate you," I assured her, squeezing her hand. "You're my sister, Tara. Nothing changes that." She finally looked at me, tears streaming down her face. "Promise me that no matter what happens, you'll remember that I never wanted to hurt you. That I never meant for any of this." "What do you mean, any of this?" "Tara, you're scaring me. Just promise me," she insisted, her grip on my hand almost painful. "I promise," I said, confused but concerned. "I promise." If I'd been smarter, I would have pressed harder. I would have demanded answers. But I trusted her. God, I trusted her with everything. The following Tuesday, Deli's mother arrived. And she brought a surprise. I came home from work to find Charlene in my living room, sitting in my favorite chair holding a baby. "Aisha," she said, her tone as cold as always. "We need to talk." Deli appeared from the kitchen looking uncomfortable. "Mom's staying for a few weeks. And she brought my niece." "Niece?" I repeated, staring at the toddler in Charlene's arms. The little girl looked about 18 months old, with a head full of curly hair and big brown eyes. "My sister's daughter," Deli explained. "Stacy. Her mother is having some medical complications, so she needs to stay with us for a while. Family helps family, right?" I'd met Deli's sister exactly twice. She lived abroad, was perpetually busy, and we'd never been close. The whole situation felt odd, but what could I say? A family member needed help. "Of course," I said, forcing a smile. "Welcome, little Stacy." The toddler looked at me solemnly, then buried her face in Charlene's neck. Something about the gesture made my chest tighten, though I couldn't say why. "She'll need her own room," Charlene announced. "And someone will need to watch her during the day. I assume you'll be taking time off from work, Aisha?" "I can't just take time off," I said carefully. "I have projects." "Family comes first," Charlene interrupted, her eyes hard. "Or is your job more important than helping a child in need?" I felt Deli's hand on my back, a warning to stay calm. "We'll figure something out," he said quickly. "Maybe we can hire someone." "Hire a stranger? For my granddaughter?" Charlene's voice rose. "Absolutely not. Aisha, surely you can make arrangements." I bit back a dozen responses. I'll talk to my manager. See what's possible. That night, after Charlene had finally gone to the guest room with Stacy, I confronted Deli in our bedroom. A heads up would have been nice, I said, trying to keep my voice level. I walk in to find your mother has moved in with a baby, and I'm supposed to rearrange my entire career? I know. I'm sorry. He ran his hands through his hair, a gesture he made when stressed. My mother just showed up with Stacy this morning. My sister called her in a panic. Apparently, the medical situation is serious. I didn't have time to warn you. What's wrong with your sister? Some complications. Mom was vague on the details. He sat on the edge of our bed looking exhausted. Look, it's temporary. A few weeks, maybe a month. We can handle this, right? I sat beside him, my anger deflating. A child needed help. How could I be selfish about that? Hey. But your mother needs to ease up on the passive-aggressive comments. I'll talk to her, he promised, kissing my temple. Thank you for being understanding. This is why I love you. I leaned into him, breathing in his familiar scent. We're a team, right? We handle things together. Always, he murmured against my hair. Liar. He was already such a liar and I had no idea. The first week with Stacy was chaos. The toddler cried every time I tried to hold her, reaching for Deli instead. She'd calm down the moment he picked her up, snuggling into his chest like she belonged there. She's just not used to you yet, Charlene said, her tone suggesting it was somehow my fault. Children sense tension. You need to be more relaxed around her. I watched Deli bounce Stacy on his hip, the little girl giggling as he made silly faces. Something about the scene made my stomach clench. The way he held her seemed too natural, too practiced. But I pushed the feeling away. He'd always been good with kids. What I couldn't push away was how often Tara started coming over. It started innocently enough. She'd stop by after work just to check in. But she always stayed longer than necessary and she always seemed to gravitate towards Stacy. She'd play with the toddler for hours, her face lighting up in a way I'd never seen before. She's so beautiful, Tara would whisper, holding Stacy's tiny hand. So perfect. You're great with her, I observed one evening watching them play with blocks on the living room floor. Maybe you should have kids of your own. Tara's hands stilled. Maybe. Someday. Is this about that guy you mentioned? The one you had the affair with? She didn't answer immediately. When she did, her voice was strange. Everything's about him, Aisha. Every single thing. I should have asked more questions. I should have noticed how Deli and Tara never seemed to make eye contact when they were in the same room. I should have wondered why my mother-in-law watched them both so carefully, her expression unreadable. But I was busy. Work was demanding. I was trying to manage my career while helping with Stacy, trying to keep my marriage strong while dealing with Charlene's constant criticism, trying to be a good friend to Tara while managing my own stress. I was juggling too many things, and I was about to drop them all. The change came gradually. Deli started working from home more often, claiming he needed to help with Stacy. Tara's visits became daily occurrences. Charlene watched everything with those sharp eyes, saying nothing but seeing too much. Your husband is very devoted to that child, my mother Kristen observed during one of our weekly phone calls. Seems unusual for an uncle. He's just helpful, I defended. It's temporary anyway. My mother's skepticism was clear. And your best friend practically lives at your house now? She likes babies. She's been helping. Aisha. My mother's voice turned serious. When something seems off, it usually is. Trust your instincts. There's nothing to trust, I insisted. You're being paranoid. I wish I'd listened to her. My mother had survived my father's betrayal, had built a life for us from nothing. She knew the signs. She could smell deception like smoke in the air. But I was blind. Or maybe I just didn't want to see. It was a Thursday. I'll never forget that. Thursdays used to be my favorite day, almost to the weekend, but without Friday's rush. Normal. Unremarkable. The day that would destroy me started like any other. Deli kissed me goodbye that morning longer than usual. I'm staying home today, he said. Thought I'd give everyone a break and watch Stacy myself. That's sweet of you, I said, adjusting his collar. He'd let his hair grow a bit longer and I brushed it back from his forehead. Your mother will appreciate it. Actually, she's going out with some friends. So it'll just be me and the little one. He smiled and it looked genuine. Might be nice actually. Some one-on-one time. One-on-one time with his daughter. His actual daughter. But I didn't know that yet. I kissed him once more and left for work, stopping at my favorite cafe for coffee. The barista knew my order by heart. Caramel latte extra hot, no whip. Small pleasures in a busy life. At work, I plowed through emails, attended meetings, reviewed financial reports. My mind wandered occasionally, to Stacy's giggle, to Tara's sad eyes, to the way Deli had held me the night before, whispering that he loved me. Around 11, my manager asked me to prepare a presentation for Monday. I worked through lunch, my coffee going cold beside me. By 1:30, my stomach was growling so loudly that Janet laughed from the next desk. Go get food, Aisha. You're going to eat your keyboard. I checked the time. Deli would be alone with Stacy, probably struggling with her lunch. I could surprise them, bring something good to eat. Maybe get some extra time with my husband. I grabbed my purse and headed to the Thai place Deli loved, ordering his favorite pad Thai and some spring rolls. The food smelled amazing in my car, making my mouth water as I drove home. Our house looked peaceful in the afternoon sun. Deli's car was in the driveway. And beside it, my heart sank slightly, was Tara's sedan. Of course she was here. She was always here now. I let myself in quietly, not wanting to wake Stacy if she was napping. The house was silent except for low voices from the living room. Tara's laugh, soft and intimate. Deli's responding chuckle. I set the food on the kitchen counter, something cold settling in my chest. They were just talking. Friends talked. Best friends and husbands could be in the same room without it meaning anything. I froze just before stepping in. Their words were muffled but clear enough. She's getting older, Tara said, voice trembling slightly. We can't keep lying forever. Aisha deserves to know who her father really is. Not yet, Deli replied quickly. Please, Tara. I need time. If she finds out now, I'll lose everything. She'll find out eventually. Stacy's starting to talk more. What if she slips up? Then we'll deal with it, he said. Until then, she's my niece. Understand? My mind blanked. My knees nearly gave way. Reveal who her father really is. I felt dizzy, clutching the wall. Stacy wasn't Tara's niece? What were they talking about? I took a step forward, ready to confront them, to demand the truth, when a small voice cut through the air. Daddy. The sound froze all of us. Stacy was awake, sitting up sleepily between them, her chubby hand reaching for Deli. Her big brown eyes, his eyes, blinked at him with complete trust. Daddy. She said it again, clearer this time, smiling. Deli went pale. Tara gasped, covering her mouth. And I couldn't breathe. The world tilted. The walls seemed to close in. Every sound in the room muffled except that one word echoing over and over in my head. Daddy. Deli's face went white as chalk. Tara's hand flew to her mouth. And I stood there, rooted to the floor as reality crashed over me like a tidal wave. The toddler wasn't his niece. Stacy was his daughter. And Tara, my best friend, the woman I'd trusted with everything, was the mother. Aisha. Deli started to stand, his voice strangled. Don't. The word came out sharp, cutting. Don't you dare. Tara was crying, I realized distantly. Tears streaming down her face. I'm so sorry. Oh God, Aisha, I'm so sorry. My brain couldn't process it. Couldn't make sense of what I was seeing. Deli and Tara. Tara and Deli. Their baby. Living in my house. Playing in my living room. Sleeping in my guest room. I'd been caring for my husband's love child. The product of his affair with my best friend. How long? My voice sounded strange, detached. Like it belonged to someone else. Aisha, please let me explain. Deli took a step toward me. How long? I screamed at this time and Stacy started crying, frightened by my voice. Tara picked up the toddler automatically, soothing her. The gesture was maternal, practiced. How many times had she held this baby? Her baby? Their baby? 2 years, Deli said quietly. It was a mistake. A stupid, terrible mistake. It only happened a few times, I swear. A few times. I laughed and it sounded hysterical even to my own ears. You had a whole baby. You created a life. I didn't know, Tara sobbed, clutching Stacy. I didn't know I was pregnant until it was too late. And then I didn't know what to do. We ended things before I even knew. My mind was racing. pieces clicking together with horrible clarity. The guy you told me about. The one you had an affair with. That was Deli. She nodded, unable to meet my eyes. And when you said you needed me to remember that you never wanted to hurt me, that was because you knew I was about to find out. The betrayal cut deeper than anything I'd ever felt. You looked me in the eye and lied. For months. Both of you. We were trying to protect you, Deli said desperately. Protect me. I was shouting again. You brought your bastard child into my home. You made me take care of her. Your mother made me feel guilty for not wanting to derail my career for your daughter. Aisha, please. Does your mother know? I looked at Deli, already knowing the answer from his expression. Of course she does. That's why she's been here. Not to help her granddaughter's mother. To help her son hide his dirty secret. It wasn't like that, Charlene's voice came from the stairway. I spun around to see her standing there, dressed to go out, her face cold and composed. We were trying to find the best way to tell you. The best way. I felt like I was losing my mind. The best way would have been 2 years ago. The best way would have been before you moved a baby into my house and made me care for her. She's family, Charlene said simply. My son made a mistake, but that child is still family. We couldn't abandon her. No, but you could lie to me. All of you. I looked around at them, my husband, my best friend, my mother-in-law. A conspiracy of liars. When were you going to tell me? Ever? Or were you just going to keep pretending forever? No one answered. Stacy was still crying, reaching for Deli. Daddy, she whimpered. Daddy. Each time she said it, it felt like a knife twisting in my chest. I want all of you out of my house, I said, my voice deadly quiet now. Right now. Aisha, we need to talk about this, Deli pleaded. I love you. I made a terrible mistake, but I love you. You don't betray people you love. You don't lie to them for 2 years. You don't let them care for your mistress's baby while pretending it's your niece. I turned and walked to the kitchen, grabbing my phone with shaking hands. I needed to call someone. I needed help. My mother answered on the first ring. Aisha. Mom. My voice broke. Mom, I need you. I'm on my way, she said immediately, hearing the devastation in my voice. 20 minutes. Don't move. I ended the call and looked up to find Deli standing in the kitchen doorway. Behind him I could see Tara holding Stacy, both of them crying. Please, Deli said. Please, let's talk about this. I'll do anything. Therapy, counseling, whatever you need. Just don't give up on us. There is no us, I said flatly. There hasn't been an us for 2 years. There's been you lying to me every single day. Looking me in the eye and lying. It was killing me, he said, tears streaming down his face now. Every day it killed me. But I didn't know how to tell you. I was so scared of losing you. Well, congratulations. You just did. My mother arrived like an avenging angel, her car screeching to a halt in the driveway. Kristen was a force of nature on a good day. A woman who'd clawed her way out of poverty and refused to let anyone push her or her daughter around. Today, seeing my face, she was terrifying. Everyone out, she announced, walking into my house like she owned it. Now. Mrs. Kristen, please, we need to, Deli started. Did I stutter? Out. My daughter doesn't need to be in the same room as any of you lying snakes right now. Charlene drew herself up. This is my son's house. It's in my daughter's name, my mother cut her off smoothly. She bought this house before the marriage. Check the deed. So I'll ask you one more time to remove yourself from my daughter's property, or I'll remove you myself. He was right. The house was mine. I'd bought it with the money I'd saved for years, put the down payment down before Deli and I even got engaged. It was one of the few things I'd kept separate just in case. Just in case of this exact situation, though I'd never imagined it would actually happen. Tara tried to approach me, Stacy still in her arms. Aisha, please, I need you to understand. If you come near my daughter, my mother said, stepping between us, you'll regret it. Take your baby and go. She's not just my baby, Tara said desperately. She's Deli's too. We have to figure out custody and nothing. I found my voice. You can figure out whatever you want. Just not here. Not in my house. I watched them leave. Deli kept looking back, his face destroyed. Tara couldn't stop crying. Charlene walked out with her head high, like she had nothing to apologize for. And Stacy, Innocent, beautiful Stacy waved goodbye over Tara's shoulder, not understanding that she was at the center of a nuclear explosion. When they were finally gone, I collapsed. My mother caught me before I hit the floor, guiding me to the couch. The same couch where I'd just watched my life end. The same couch where my husband and my best friend had been sitting too close, raising their daughter together while I worked to support us all. "Let it out, baby," my mother said, holding me while I sobbed. "Let it all out." I cried until I had nothing left. Cried until my throat was raw and my eyes were swollen. Cried until the sun set and the house grew dark around us. "I'm so stupid," I finally choked out. All the signs were there. I just didn't want to see them. "You're not stupid. You're trusting. There's a difference." My mother stroked my hair like she had when I was a child. "But trusting people who don't deserve it, that ends now. Now we go to war. I don't know if I have the strength. Then you'll use mine until you find your own again." She pulled back, looking me in the eyes. "Listen to me, Aisha. You're my daughter. You are strong, brilliant, and you deserve so much better than what those people did to you. We're going to make sure they understand exactly what they've lost." Over the next 3 days, I learned things about revenge that I never knew existed. First, I changed every password Deli had access to: bank accounts, social media, streaming services, everything. Then I called a locksmith and had every lock in the house changed. Deli called 37 times the first day. I didn't answer once. My mother helped me compile everything. Dates, times, text messages I'd ignored the significance of. Photos where Deli and Tara stood just a little too close. Financial records showing money he'd been sending to an account I didn't recognize. Tara's, I now understood. "We're building a case," my mother explained, "for the divorce lawyer. You're going to take everything, Aisha. Everything. I don't even care about the money." "Well, you should. You worked hard for everything you have. He doesn't get to destroy your life and walk away comfortable. He doesn't get your house, your savings, or your dignity." On the 4th day, Deli showed up at the door. My mother answered, blocking the entrance with her body. "I need to talk to my wife," he said. "Your wife doesn't want to talk to you. You should speak to her lawyer from now on." "I don't have a lawyer's information." "You will by end of business today." My mother smiled, sharp as a blade. "I suggest you get one too. A good one." I watched this from the stairway, hidden from view. Deli looked terrible, unshaven, rumpled, broken. Good. I hoped he was suffering. I hoped every breath hurt the way mine did. "Aisha," he called out, knowing I was listening. "Aisha, please. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. It meant nothing. It meant a baby." I screamed back, coming down the stairs. "It meant 2 years of lies. It meant you turned my best friend into your mistress and brought your daughter into my home." He tried to push past my mother, but she held firm. "You have 5 seconds to step back before I call the police for trespassing," she said calmly. "This is my house. Check the deed. It's Aisha's house. Always has been. Now you have 3 seconds." He stepped back, his face crumpling. "I love you. I love you so much. Please don't do this." "You did this," I said, my voice steady now. "You made your choice 2 years ago. Now I'm making mine." The lawyer my mother found was a shark in a suit. Her name was Tanya Cole, and she smiled when I told her I wanted to take everything. "He won't have committed many financial improprieties we can prove, but he did commit adultery, and in this state that matters," Tanya explained. "The house is yours. Your retirement accounts are separate. But any joint assets, savings, his retirement, investments, we'll fight for the maximum settlement." "I want to ruin him," I said flatly. "Then let's ruin him legally. It's more satisfying when everything's documented." But legal revenge wasn't enough. Not for what they'd done. Not for the months of lies, the humiliation of caring for their child, the destruction of everything I'd believed in. So I did what I'd never thought I'd do. I told the truth. Publicly. Spectacularly. I spent a week gathering evidence. Screenshots. Photos. Video clips I hadn't realized I'd captured, including one from our home security camera showing Deli kissing Tara at our front door while I was at work, thinking he was faithfully babysitting. Then I sat down and wrote it all out. Every detail. Every lie. Every moment of the betrayal. When I was done, I had a document that read like a thriller. Except it was my life. I posted it to Facebook first. No vague posting. No hints. The whole truth with receipts. For those wondering why I've been quiet lately, here's the truth. My husband of 4 years had an affair with my best friend of 12 years. They had a baby together. They then conspired with my mother-in-law to bring that baby into my home under the guise of it being his niece, whose mother had medical complications. I took care of their child for months, never knowing she was actually my husband's daughter. I found out when the baby called him Daddy right in front of me. Here's the whole story. I included the security camera footage, the financial records showing payments to Tara, text messages between Deli and his mother discussing how to manage the situation. Everything. I tagged them both, Deli and Tara, and I set it to public. Then I shared it to Twitter, Instagram, and every social media platform I had. I sent it to everyone in my contacts. I made sure every mutual friend, every family member, every acquaintance knew exactly what had happened. Within an hour my phone was exploding. Comments, shares, messages of support and shock and fury on my behalf. The post went viral in our social circles, spreading outward like wildfire. Deli called, panicked. Aisha, take it down. Please take it down. Why? It's all true, isn't it? You're ruining my reputation. My career. Your career. I laughed, cold and bitter. You ruined our marriage. You destroyed me. This is just the truth catching up with you. People at work are seeing this. My boss called me. Good. Everyone should know what kind of man you are. Tara tried too, her messages desperate. Please Aisha, I'm begging you. I have a daughter. I'm trying to build a life. This will destroy me. I typed back, you destroyed mine first. The fallout was immediate and spectacular. Deli was put on administrative leave from his job pending an internal review. Apparently, having an affair with someone and lying about it didn't reflect well on your character, especially when your job required client trust. Tara's social media accounts went private, but not before hundreds of people left comments calling her a homewrecker and worse. Some went too far and I almost felt bad. Almost. Deli's family, the ones who'd helped hide this, were exposed too. His sister called, furious that I'd revealed there was no medical complication and that she'd been part of the conspiracy. His aunts and uncles were in my messages, some apologizing, others telling me I'd taken it too far. My mother-in-law Charlene left me a voicemail that was pure venom. You vindictive little bastard. You've destroyed my son's life over one mistake. You're going to regret this. I saved the voicemail. Tanya could use it. But the thing that satisfied me most? The support. My colleagues sent messages of solidarity. Women I barely knew reached out to share their own stories of betrayal. My boss called to check on me and assured me my job was secure, and that she'd seen the posts and admired my courage. I'm taking them for everything, I told her. The house is mine, but I want everything else too. Good, she said firmly. Don't let them walk away unscathed. My mother watched the explosion with grim satisfaction. This is just the beginning, she said. Now comes the part where we make sure they never forget what they did. A week after I'd exposed them, Deli's family demanded a meeting. Not at my house, I'd made it clear they weren't welcome there, but at a neutral location. A coffee shop downtown where I'd agreed to meet them with my mother by my side as backup. I walked in to find them all there. Charlene, of course, looking like she'd been carved from ice. Deli's father, Thomas, who'd always been quiet but kind. Deli's 2 brothers and their wives. Even his sister, who'd supposedly been the one with medical complications, had flown in from wherever she actually lived. They sat around 2 tables pushed together, a wall of judgment waiting for me. Deli was there too, looking like he hadn't slept in days. Tara wasn't. Small mercies. Aisha, Thomas started, his voice gentle. Please sit. We need to talk about this. What's there to talk about? I remained standing, my mother beside me like a sentinel. Your son lied to me for 2 years. Your family helped him. I exposed the truth. End of story. You've humiliated this entire family, Charlene hissed. Do you have any idea what you've done? Deli's career is in jeopardy. Tara's being harassed online. That poor baby is going to grow up with all of this documented forever. That poor baby, I repeated slowly, is the child my husband had with my best friend while married to me. Forgive me if I'm not concerned about her social media presence. She's innocent in all this, one of Deli's brothers interjected. She didn't ask to be born into this situation. Neither did I. My voice rose. I didn't ask to be lied to. I didn't ask to care for the product of my husband's affair. I didn't ask to be made a fool of in my own home. We were trying to protect you, Deli said quietly. His eyes were bloodshot, his face gaunt. We knew it would hurt you and we didn't want. You didn't want me to know, I cut him off. That's different from protecting me. You wanted to have your cake and eat it too. You wanted your daughter and your wife and you thought you could hide the truth forever. I made a mistake, he said, his voice breaking. One terrible mistake. But I love you, Aisha. I've always loved you. Can't we find a way through this? No. The word was final. There's no coming back from this. Because you won't even try. Charlene stood up, her voice sharp. You're being vindictive and cruel. Yes, my son made a mistake, but you're destroying him deliberately. You posted everything online like some kind of scorned woman with no class. Watch yourself, my mother said, her voice deadly quiet. Choose your next words very carefully. Or what? Charlene turned her venom on my mother. You'll encourage your daughter to destroy more lives? You raised her to be this person? This bitter, vengeful. Better bitter and vengeful than a liar and enabler, my mother shot back. You helped your son hide a child from his wife. You moved that baby into her home and made her feel guilty for not wanting to sacrifice her career to care for it. You are complicit in one of the cruelest things I've ever seen someone do to another person. We were trying to keep the family together. By lying? By deceiving? That's not family, that's conspiracy. Deli's sister, whose name I'd barely remembered until all this happened, spoke up. Aisha, I understand you're hurt. But did you have to make it so public? The whole world doesn't need to know our private business. I turned to her slowly. You let me believe you were sick. You let me worry about you. You were part of this lie from the beginning. So don't talk to me about privacy when you invaded mine. We're family, Thomas said, trying to be the voice of reason. Families work through problems. Families forgive. Family doesn't lie to each other for 2 years, I said. Family doesn't betray each other with their best friends. Family doesn't gaslight and manipulate and hide children. So that's it. One of the wives spoke up. I think her name was Jennifer. You're just going to destroy Deli completely? Take everything from him? Leave him with nothing? Yes. I said it without hesitation. That's exactly what I'm going to do. The table erupted. Everyone talking at once, voices raised in anger and disbelief. They called me vindictive. Heartless. Cruel. They said I was overreacting, that I should be more forgiving, that everyone makes mistakes. I let them talk until they ran out of steam. Then I reached into my bag and pulled out a wrapped box. It was about the size of a shoebox, wrapped in cheerful paper with a bow on top. Before I go, I said, my voice cutting through the silence, I have a gift. For Deli. He looked at the box warily. What is it? Open it. Everyone watched as he reached for the box with shaking hands. He untied the bow, tore the paper carefully. Opened the lid. Inside were his things. His wedding ring. Photos from our wedding that I'd removed from their frames. A flash drive. What's on the flash drive? He asked quietly. Every text message you sent Tara that I could recover, I said. Every phone record. Every financial transaction. Every lie documented and time-stamped. My lawyer has copies. So if any of you are thinking about trying to spin this story about trying to make me the villain, remember that I have proof of everything. Charlene's face went white. You wouldn't. I already did, I reminded her. The whole world knows what your son did. What you all did. And if you think I'm being cruel now, just wait until the divorce proceedings. Because I'm taking the house. I'm taking the savings. I'm taking every single thing that's mine by right. And I'm going to make sure Deli understands that actions have consequences. You're being a bitch, one of the brothers said flatly. My mother was on him in an instant. Say that again. I dare you. Everyone calm down, Thomas tried to intervene. This isn't helping. Nothing will help, I said. Your son destroyed our marriage. He made his choice. Now he gets to live with it. I looked at Deli one last time. Really looked at him. At this man I'd loved so completely, so trustingly. This man who'd held me on our wedding day and promised forever. This man who'd looked me in the eyes every day for 2 years while hiding the biggest betrayal imaginable. I loved you, I said quietly. I would have done anything for you. I would have forgiven almost anything. But not this. Never this. Aisha, please. He reached for my hand. I stepped back. My lawyer will be in touch about the divorce proceedings. Don't contact me again. As my mother and I walked out of that coffee shop, I heard Charlene's voice, loud and bitter. This is all your fault, Deli. You and that girl. Look what you've brought on this family. Good. Let them turn on each other. Let them feel the consequences of their lies. But I wasn't done. Not yet. Deli would lose our marriage, his money, his reputation. But Tara needed to understand exactly what she'd lost too. We'd been best friends since college. She knew everything about me. My dreams. My fears. My insecurities. She'd held my hand through my father's funeral. I'd been her maid of honor at her brief starter marriage that ended in a quiet divorce. We'd planned to grow old together, our kids playing together, our families intertwined. She'd destroyed all of that. And she needed to face it. I found her address through mutual friends who'd sided with me once the truth came out. She was living in a small apartment across town, probably to avoid me. I showed up on a Tuesday evening unannounced. She answered the door with Stacy on her hip, and the sight of them together, mother and daughter, sent a fresh wave of pain through my chest. Stacy had Deli's eyes and Tara's nose. A perfect blend of the two people who'd betrayed me most. Aisha, Tara breathed, her face going pale. What are you doing here? We're going to talk, I said. Now. I don't think that's a good idea. I don't care what you think. You owe me this conversation. She hesitated, then stepped back, letting me in. The apartment was small but tidy, decorated with photos of Stacy. No photos of Deli, I noticed. Had there ever been, or had she removed them? Let me put her down, Tara said, disappearing into a bedroom with the toddler. I heard her singing softly, the same lullaby she'd sung when she used to stay at my house. When she'd been my friend. When she came back out, her eyes were red. Say what you came to say. How long did you plan it? I asked. How long were you and Deli sneaking around before you got pregnant? It wasn't planned, she said quietly. None of it was planned. Then tell me how it happened. You owe me that much. She sank onto her couch, her hands twisting together. It started at your birthday party. 2 years ago. You remember, you drank too much and went to bed early? I remembered. My 30th birthday. I'd been so happy that night, surrounded by people I loved. I'd had too much wine and Deli had helped me to bed, kissing my forehead and telling me to sleep it off. I'd assumed he'd gone back to the party. Deli stayed to help me clean up, Tara continued, her voice barely audible. Everyone else had left. We were talking, drinking the leftover wine. And he told me he was worried about you. About how hard you'd been working. He said he felt like he was losing you to your career. So you slept with him? The words were harsh, but I was past caring about being gentle. It wasn't like that. She looked up, tears streaming. We talked for hours. He was vulnerable. I was lonely. My divorce had just finalized, remember? And we'd been drinking and somehow we kissed. And it just happened. It just happened, I repeated flatly. And then what? It just kept happening. 3 times, she whispered. It happened 3 times over 2 months. Each time we swore it would never happen again. Each time we felt sick with guilt. And then I found out I was pregnant. Did you ever think about telling me? Every day. She stood up, pacing. Every single day, Aisha. I wanted to tell you so badly. But Deli panicked. He said it would destroy you. He said we couldn't tell you until we figured out what to do. And what did you figure out? To bring the baby into my house and make me take care of her. That wasn't my idea. That was Charlene's. She found out about the pregnancy. Deli told her in a panic, and she decided we needed to keep it in the family. He came up with the niece story. I hated it. I fought against it. But Deli said it was the only way to have Stacy in his life without destroying his marriage. His marriage was already destroyed, I said coldly. He just hadn't told me yet. I know. She sank back down, defeated. I know. And I'm so sorry. If I could take it back. But you can't. I moved closer, towering over her. You can't take back 2 years of lies. You can't take back sitting in my living room playing with your daughter while I worked to support my husband. You can't take back being my best friend while you'd slept with my husband and had his baby. I never wanted to hurt you. You said that before. When you told me about the affair, with some mysterious man. You looked me in the eye and asked me to promise I'd remember you never wanted to hurt me. You knew even then that I was about to find out. And you still didn't tell me. I was scared. Of what? Of losing me? Well, congratulations, you did. Of losing your reputation? Done. Of raising Stacy alone? That's what you're doing now. She buried her face in her hands, sobbing. I loved him. God help me, I loved him so much. And I love Stacy. She's the best thing that ever happened to me, even though she came from such a terrible situation. Don't put that on her, I said sharply. She's innocent. But you're not. And neither is Deli. What do you want from me? She looked up, her face blotchy and red. What can I possibly do to make this right? Nothing, I said simply. There's nothing you can do. I just wanted you to look me in the eye and understand what you destroyed. Our friendship. My marriage. My ability to trust anyone. You didn't just betray me, you killed something in me that I'll never get back. Aisha. I'm not done. I cut her off. I want you to know that every time you look at Stacy, I hope you remember what she cost. Every time someone finds out she's Deli's daughter, I hope you remember that everyone knows how she was conceived. Every time you struggle as a single mother, and you will struggle, I hope you remember that you chose this. That's cruel, she whispered. It's honest, I corrected. And one more thing. Stay away from me. Don't call. Don't text. Don't even think about reaching out. If I see you in public, I'll turn around and leave. As far as I'm concerned, you died the day I found out the truth. I walked to the door, then paused. Actually, I lied. There is one thing you can do. Anything, she said desperately. Tell me. Live with it, I said. Live with what you did. Don't forget it. Don't minimize it. Don't tell yourself comforting lies about how it just happened, or how you never meant to hurt me. Remember, every single day that you destroyed your best friend for a man who was never really yours. And know that I'm going to be happy again someday. I'm going to heal and move on and build a beautiful life. And you'll never be part of it. I left her crying on her couch and I didn't look back. The divorce proceedings were brutal by design. Tanya went after everything. She dug up every financial record, every joint account, every investment. She documented every payment Deli had made to Tara over the past 2 years. Money from our joint account that he'd been sending to support his daughter without telling me. He used marital funds to support his affair partner and their child, Tanya explained. That's going to cost him. In our state, adultery mattered. It affected how assets were divided, especially when deception was involved. Tanya built a case that painted Deli as not just unfaithful but calculated and cruel. His lawyer tried to argue that I was being unreasonable. That I should be willing to split everything 50-50, that his mistake shouldn't cost him his entire future. Tanya demolished that argument. Your client didn't make a mistake. He made a series of deliberate choices over 2 years. He chose to have an affair. He chose to hide his daughter. He chose to bring that child into the marital home under false pretenses. He chose to use marital funds to support his affair partner. These aren't mistakes, they're betrayals. And my client is entitled to compensation for that betrayal. The house was mine. That was never in question since I'd bought it before the marriage. But we'd accumulated other assets. Savings. Investments. Deli's retirement fund, which I was entitled to a portion of. Took it all. Every dollar in our joint savings account. Half of his retirement fund. The car we'd bought together. Even the furniture. I let him take his clothes and personal items, but everything else stayed in my house. His lawyer tried to argue that I was being vindictive. Tanya smiled. My client is being thorough, she corrected. She's ensuring that she's compensated for the emotional distress, the betrayal and the destruction of her marriage caused entirely by your client's actions. If you think this is vindictive, you should see what we could do if we really tried. Deli tried to talk to me during a court recess. I was in the hallway with my mother when he approached. Aisha, please. I'm going to have nothing left. Good, I said simply. I'll have to support Stacy. How am I supposed to do that if you take everything? That's not my problem. You should have thought about that before you slept with my best friend. I made a mistake. His voice rose. How many times do I have to say it? I made a terrible mistake and I'm sorry. But you're ruining me. You ruined yourself, my mother interjected. My daughter is just making sure you understand there are consequences. This isn't about consequences, it's about revenge. You're damn right it is, I said, getting in his face. You think you can destroy my life and walk away unscathed? You think you can humiliate me, lie to me, use me, and then ask for mercy? I don't have mercy left. You burned it all up when you brought your daughter into my home. She's just a baby. And I didn't create her. You did. With my best friend. While married to me. So yes, Deli, this is revenge. This is me making sure you never forget what you did. This is me making sure that every time you struggle to make ends meet, every time you can't afford something you want, every time you look at your financial statements and see how little you have left, you remember me. You remember what you lost. His face crumpled. I loved you. No, I said coldly. You loved what I provided. Stability. A home. Respectability. You loved having a wife and a mistress and a secret daughter. But you never loved me. Because if you had, you never could have done this. The final divorce decree came through 6 weeks later. I got the house. The savings. Half his retirement. Her. Even our wedding china, which I planned to smash into 1,000,000 pieces as soon as the paperwork was finalized. Deli got his clothes, his laptop, and a court order to pay child support to Tara. Not to me, since Stacy wasn't my responsibility, but to the woman he'd cheated with. He'd have to start over with almost nothing. Tanya called to congratulate me. You did it. You took everything. I know, I said. But I felt hollow. Are you okay? She asked gently. Not yet, I admitted. But I will be. 3 months after the divorce was finalized, I threw a party. Not a pity party. Not a sad, broken-hearted woman drowning her sorrows party. A celebration. I invited everyone. Colleagues. Friends. Family. Even some mutual friends who'd sided with me once the truth came out. I rented out a beautiful venue, hired caterers, bought champagne. The theme? Freedom. I'm celebrating my liberation, I announced to the room when everyone had arrived. I'm celebrating discovering the truth. I'm celebrating cutting toxic people out of my life. And I'm celebrating the next chapter. People cheered. Someone started a toast. The energy in the room was electric, supportive, joyful. But the real revenge came later that night. I'd hired a photographer for the event. Professional quality photos of me, smiling and happy, surrounded by people who actually loved me. Dancing. Laughing. Living. I posted them to social media with a caption. 6 months ago, I discovered my husband and best friend had betrayed me in the worst way possible. Today I'm celebrating moving on. To everyone who supported me through this, thank you. To everyone who lied to me, I hope you're watching this and understanding what you lost. I'm going to be happy. I'm going to be successful. I'm going to build a beautiful life. And you'll never be part of it. The post went viral again. People shared it with comments about resilience. About strength. About not letting betrayal destroy you. I became something of a minor celebrity in certain online circles. The woman who'd exposed her cheating husband and taken everything in the divorce. I received messages from hundreds of people. Women who'd been through similar betrayals. Men who'd been cheated on. People who just wanted to say they admired my strength. But the message that satisfied me most came from someone I didn't know. I work with Deli, it read. He saw your post. He broke down crying at his desk. Just thought you'd want to know. Good. Let him cry. Let him see what I'd built without him. Let him understand that he hadn't broken me, he'd just removed himself from my life. Tara's social media remained private. I heard through mutual friends that she'd left town, moved to be closer to her parents, wanted to raise Stacy away from all the drama. Running away. How typical. Charlene tried to reach out once months later. A text message. Aisha, I hope you can find it in your heart to forgive. We're family. I blocked her number without responding. We weren't family. We never had been. I'm sitting in my backyard in my house that Deli will never set foot in again, watching the sunset paint the sky orange and pink. My mother is visiting, drinking wine beside me. We don't talk about Deli much anymore. We don't need to. I'm proud of you, she says suddenly. For what? For surviving. For fighting. For not letting them destroy you. I smile, sipping my own wine. You taught me well. I taught you to be strong. But you chose to be fierce. There's a difference. My phone buzzes. A text from a guy I've been casually seeing. Nothing serious yet, but he makes me laugh. We're getting dinner next week. New boyfriend? My mother asks, smirking. Maybe. Someday. When I'm ready. I'm not there yet. I'm still healing. Still learning to trust again. Still waking up some mornings and feeling the ghost of betrayal in my chest. But I'm getting there. I got a promotion at work. My boss said it was for my performance, but I think she also respected how I'd handled my personal crisis. I hadn't fallen apart. I hadn't let it destroy my career. I'd channeled my rage into productivity. I bought new furniture for the house. Redecorated. Made it mine in a way it had never been when Deli lived here. His ghost is mostly gone now, exorcised through sage burning and new memories. I heard through the grapevine that Deli is struggling. Working 2 jobs to make ends meet and pay child support. Living in a studio apartment. His family barely speaks to him. Apparently his own mother blames him for the scandal that tainted their name. I should feel bad about that. But I don't. I heard Tara is engaged to someone new. Some guy she met in her new town. I wonder if she's told him the truth about Stacy. I wonder if he knows what kind of person he's marrying. Not my problem anymore. The sunset fades to twilight. Stars begin to appear. And I realize something profound. I'm happy. Not the naive happiness I had before when I thought my life was perfect. This is different. Deeper. Earned. This is the happiness of someone who survived a war and came out stronger. Who faced betrayal and chose to rise instead of fall. Who took her power back and refused to be a victim. What are you thinking about? My mother asks. Revenge, I say honestly. How it's not always about destruction. Sometimes it's about building something better. And have you? I look at my house. My career. My future stretching before me, full of possibilities. Yes, I say. I really have. As I sit here now, 2 years after that horrible Thursday when my world exploded, I understand something I didn't before. The opposite of love isn't hate. It's indifference. I don't hate Deli anymore. I don't hate Tara. I don't even hate Charlene, though she probably comes closest. I'm just done with them. They're characters in a story I used to live, but I've moved on to a new chapter. One where they don't exist. And that, I've realized, is the ultimate revenge. Not taking their money. Not exposing their lies. Not making them suffer. But moving on. Being happy. Building a life so full and rich and beautiful that they become irrelevant. They destroyed my past. But they have no power over my future. And that's how I won.